we have some breaking news on the election front. CTV News has confirmed with multiple sources that the Quebec riding of Terrebonne has flipped to the Liberals. A judicial recount shows the Liberals have won the riding by just one single vote over the Bloc Québécois. That brings the Liberal seat count in the Parliament to 170. And take a look at this, just 2 seats shy, less than what is needed for a majority government. Recounts are underway in 3 other ridings at the moment. Let's now bring in Scott Reid, CTV News political commentator. Scott, good evening. Great to have you on the show. Almost 2 weeks out, election results continue to flip. It's remarkable what we're seeing with this election.
Exactly. Election night's been 13 days long. It is fascinating to watch. Can you imagine losing a riding by 1 vote? And you think of every family member who maybe got too busy picking up the kids and forgot. It would just haunt you like a ghost. But, you know, what's the big takeaway here? We got 3 other judicial recounts. Some could flip Conservative to Liberal. Some could flip Liberal to Conservative. At the end of the day, the Liberals are not going to end up with an actual technical majority, but it just reinforces fundamentally that they have a working majority in the House of Commons. They're a whisker away from having that majority. And of course, we have to remember that they have to pick a speaker, and that takes one other member of Parliament off the board. And I would think the Liberals will almost certainly allow an opposition member to take that role.
I also want to talk to you about, we know that there are other ridings that are going to be going recounts later this week, but the fact that there is another representation that's coming for the Liberals from Quebec, do you think some of that will now have to be reconsidered for the Prime Minister as he's shaping up his cabinet? We're expecting an announcement come Tuesday. Could we see some changes?
I don't know that we'll see changes. I don't know that this result flips the script in terms of what they were going to do. I think you're already going to see pretty strong representation by the province of Quebec in the cabinet, and that'll be something we'll really want to watch for. Regional balance is always a big factor when putting a cabinet together. But you just think about some of the big names. You know, we've got some new recruits like former Quebec Finance Minister Carlos Leto coming in Quebec City. You've got people like François-Philippe Champagne. You've got Mélanie Joly. Stephen Guilbeault, who's running the, who's technically the Quebec lieutenant right now for Mark Carney. So there are a lot of big names, a lot of big positions. Not everyone in this game of political musical chairs is going to find a seat at the cabinet table when all is said and done. But there'll be a lot of Quebecers there, no question.
So there is, of course, an opportunity in Newfoundland where the recount is concerned. I think 2 of those other ridings are in Ontario. But Scott, for viewers to understand better, is the judicial recount, is the last, is the finality of what's going to happen with the counting process, or is there any other option left?
That's pretty much it. Occasionally you'll see that, candidates might go to the courts and contest an outcome, say that they've got affidavits and they found evidence. I don't think anything's ever been successful in that effort. One of these ridings is actually the consequence of the failed Liberal candidate, former member of Parliament, petitioning and seeking a judicial recount and bringing forward affidavits, and got a judicial recount on that basis. It's also triggered automatically if it's less than 0.1% of the vote overall in the riding. But no, it's pretty much the end of the line. These judicial recounts will finally settle the election, and they will give us the shape of the House of Commons once and for all.
And just looking back a little bit in history, we are right now 2 seats shy of a majority. When was the last time, and looking at the vote shares we've discussed so often, Scott, the election results were so very fascinating and so close?
Well, you go back to the 1970s. It was a one seat difference between Robert Stanfield's Tories and a Liberal government of Pierre Trudeau. I can remember when Mr. Martin was Prime Minister, we had a vote in the House of Commons, a confidence vote, and we managed to recruit a couple of Conservative votes to our side. That vote ended in a tie in a minority parliament. If the vote had succeeded, we would have been forced into election. It ended in a tie, and parliamentary tradition is that if the Speaker must break the tie, it will always be in favor of continuing debate, which is to say the Parliament will continue, there will not be an election. That's how close we got shaved that day. So we've seen close circumstances like this before, but not often.
Not often. Okay, we'll leave it at that for tonight, keeping an eye on the other ridings as well. But for the moment, Scott Reid, CTV News political commentator, thank you for your input, Scott.
Thank you. Have a great night.
You too.